Welcome back to another episode of Tyranny. We are currently in Vendrian's Well Keep, trying to get towards Ascension Hall and confront the leaders of the Vendrian Guard. Playing on Path of the Damned difficulty, so we're kiting everybody we can possibly kite. And hoping they attack us one by one where we can easily pick them off.
Let's be off.
The way I figured, if the game didn't want us to do this, it wouldn't have coded it this way. I think it's a perfectly valid strategy. Even if it is a bit exploitive.
I got it.
There's some seriously game-breaking situations as far as I can tell.
That wasn't so hard.
Azure Bell. 50%. A whole bunch of stat bonuses. There's more stuff in here too. I keep missing all
Won't
this.
happen.
There's loot spots. Iron ingot. Some water. Some more water. Alright. I'll save that, so I'm going to do that again. And kite. Commence Operation Kiting. How many mofos we got? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, God. Great. They'll never notice this. We're just like right in fucking front of them. How could you not see us? I'm literally like 20 feet away from you. Like, like out in the open is the dumbest stealth mechanic I've ever seen. It's like, what is it, pitch black in this hallway? Alright, this spot.
More tallies to the body count.
That wasn't too bad to kite that one guy. Oh. I should try to run away. Snap. Let's see. Just want to get...
Take that!
What is that guy doing?
I will aid you.
That looks like going through it. Should I run further back? Man.
On it.
It looks like the sorcerer left, which is good. And that's only 2 now.
I will aid you.
Right.
She needs to heal up.
Another scar?
I'll do it for the North. I will aid you. Are you afraid of death, worm?
Will do.
There we go. No wounds even. Nice. That's what I like to see. Alright, let's save that again. More stuff. There's only 5 left. I'm down from 7.
Send me your champion!
Man.
Let's be off.
Not feeling so great.
We'll just wait till he comes back. Let's try to stab him.
I'll do it for the North.
Okay, he's marked.
Right.
Smashed to pieces!
There we go. And no wounds again. Nice. Save that. Search him. Let's go through all this stuff. Make sure there's nothing I should equip. Nah. Don't need that. Don't need the water. Iron greatsword we've seen before. Broken dagger. Iron dagger, but a fine quality one. Recovery plus 0.5. This recovery is plus 0.75. That's a quill. That's a normal thing. 0.75. Huh. This dagger is pretty slow, really. Because you see the recovery is half a second extra. You know, and like a sword is really just a quarter of a second slower than a dagger. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, a dagger should be a lot faster, it seems to me. That might be better than... Well, it's a spear. Our javelin's different. Armor penetration. That's just gems to sell. Healing potion. Staggering burn. Alright, nothing all that special. Let's save that, so I'm not going to do that again.
Let's be off.
Get my crazy dude out. Alright, down to 4.
Another battle. I'm starting.
You can't move!
Come on.
Will do.
You gotta move out of the way.
I'd have it no other way.
He's He's leveled up.
I'll tear your skeleton out by your ass!
That's how it's
Done.
Let's see, I kind of want to run away here. That was rooted. I guess I can't. Guess it's not attracting the other guys, so we're good.
Will do.
fall before me!
Nice. And still no wounds. Thanks for the heal, dude. Okay, let's save that. And I think we're good enough to charge in. And just murder these guys.
Heads up, we have company.
Whoa, those guys did a lot of damage to me really quick.
I'd have it no other way.
I'll tear your skeleton out by your ass!
See, I love how these guys are going to heal each other. I'm amazed she wasn't wounded. She got down on low on health both times. Like twice. She's really lucky. Healing wisps.
You got it.
I don't think you can gain experience while not fighting. It's not like Ultima where you can just cheese it. Just like our Skyrim where you can just jump forever. Alright, we cleared those 7 guys out without wounding. Of course we did it pretty slow, but that's alright. Man, if you just charge in there, you just get murdered. Let's see, this is all stuff to sell. I'm just going to put it directly in the chest.
Stepping lightly.
Won't happen.
Anybody see anything? Nope. Put on fast mode. Look around. This might be the inner sanctum. Ascension Hall. Just searching again real fast before I leave the area. Gotta stay leveled up with loot.
Won't happen.
There's like stuff over there. Should I go check that out? Didn't even see that path. Oh,
No can do.
guess you can't take that path. Blocked off.
No can do.
Okay, let's save it. This is not gonna be good. I don't want to fight him, mommy. It's too big of a room and there's nowhere to escape from. Escape to. Let's level him up. Let's see. Might. He likes being mighty. Let's see. I like this defender stuff. Passive bonus. Minus 5% damage. Sounds pretty good, because once you get up to version 3, you're up to minus 15%. Because I don't think I really need to engage that many more enemies. I'm not really fighting that many at a time, and if I do, I'm pretty much dead anyway. Bolter's Strength. Clash of Iron. I don't use Clash of Iron too often, so I like this one. Chance to attack enemies as they gauge on you. I mean, I'm sure there's some good stuff over here, but I just want this guy to be defensive. At least for now, until I run out of stuff for him to do. Defeat the rebel leaders. There's no way out of it for Vendrian Guard. Defeat them here and end the battle of Vendrian's Well once and for all. Or just leave. Yeah, let's put our tanks first. How about that? That's a good idea.
No reason to tarry.
I think I can kite these guys.
I'll stay downwind of our enemies.
Nope, because there's a cutscene. Maybe I can just talk my way out of it. So, you are the vanguard of Kairos' conquest. Not as tall as I imagined, but we can't all choose our executioners. Already, word of our defiance spreads throughout the lands. You're 7 kinds of stupid if you think our war ends here. Before you stands Captain Tarkus Ari, de facto leader of the dwindling Vendrian Guard. Short, sunburned, and agitated even when standing tall. Her body is a compact sculpture of muscle and bone. I like how the game actually puts a lot of women in charge in this game as warriors. And her face is short and on symmetry thanks to the scars and dents of a dozen brushes with death. Though your lives will certainly end here, in Ascension Hall, she cohortals, pointing upward to the ceiling, its stone arches somehow supporting the massive weight of the spire overhead. Consider yourself fortunate. Some of the finest rulers in Apex met their death by duel in this hallowed hall. Truly, there's no finer place to settle an intractable feud. Sisters, brothers. Ari looks back to her cadre of soldiers and with a solemn nod. It has been a privilege to lead and an honor to share in your final days. Taking a deep breath, she turns to you, waiting silently. What did you hope to gain from your rebellion? Seems your uprising amounted to nothing but dead kinsmen. Any last words? You had so many chances to surrender. I have orders to make this excruciating and slow. But I'm the first of your problems. The chorus and disfavored are right behind me, and they're the ones that have a common hatred in you. Fine, just more gristle to chew upon. However many friends you brought, we'll be happy to slay them all. Captain nods at her own words, but her looks to soldiers, seeing unsettled faces looking back. Steady yourselves. This is our moment of glory. Her rallying shout echoes through the chamber, but does little to boast of their shaking morale of their crew. What did you hope to gain from your rebellion? Nothing that we haven't already gained. Our pride, our dignity, those things you could never take from us. She smiles, her eyes distant for a moment. The Vendrian Guard could never stand against all of Kairos' forces. But we can teach others to resist, and maybe you'll run out of soldiers before we run out of stubbornness. But I doubt it. You already use Kairos' currency, speak the language. Military control is a formality. Would you consign your whole realm to death because of your pride? But that's... Ari stammers and swatting at the air. That's just sophistry. Kairos speaks our language, not the other way around. Besides, this proves nothing other than common history. Lantry says, but the Fatebinder is saying that Kairos is not just one enemy, but a massive force. that can reach you even in times of peace. Armies and edicts are just two of the bloodier ways Kairos can control you. Seems your uprising amounted to nothing but dead kinsmen. And what did taking Vendrian's well cost you? How many disfavored corpses rust in the valley? How many choirmen fell to our blades? How goes the endless battle of the blade grave while you deal with us here? Ari laughs, wincing as she clusters her side. Tell me, are the Archons unified in victory? Did the armies bound in camaraderie over their deaths? Or stand here as the first of your problems? Did you know the Archons were feuding? How did you know the Archons were feuding? We are not hopeless, not witless. Our eyes and ears tell us much. Ari covers her mouth, stifling a smile. I will die happy, knowing your invasion will grind to a halt as the two Archons tear each other to pieces over the title of victor. Perhaps my only regret is not living to see which child king will win. If you're so eager to follow my blade, stop prattling and come at me, or are you gutless as well? Any last words? Yes. Tell the voices of Nurat we are most thankful for his aid. We would not have made it this far without his support. Great. So there's, what, 7 dudes in a small little room. How do we just run away?
Heads up, we have company.
No reason to tear it. No can do.
Run! Don't hurt me. I give up. I surrender.
Is that him? No, wait. It's blood. I feel...
They have to make one battle. It's like a super pain in the ass.
Let's be off.
Heads up, we have company. I'm so great.
Unstoppable!
Get up! Damn you!
My arm's going down!
Yeah, right. Might as well save it here so I don't gotta do that dumb dialogue again.
Send them at me in wave! That one will be hot! I will aid you!
The fate finder!
Feels like my blood is on fire.
So this guy leveled up, so I could level him up with an ability to revive the party. And let's see. There's a dumb spell of his I just learned.
I'll take care of it. This should do the trick.
Let's see, have him heal. Have her heal. Yeah, just stop knocking me down for a second.
Another scar?
I will aid you.
Your will is weak. I'll tear your skeleton out by your ass.
Potion of revival.
I'll take care of it.
Potion of revival on him. You can do.
This weapon is entirely worthless. I'll take care of it.
Potion of revival on her.
Will do.
For the queen!
I'm not built for this sort of violence. I feel
Man. I just got completely wiped by that fucker.
I'm going down!
Well, I took 3 of them with me. And unfortunately, there's nowhere to run, so I cannot kite anyone. And it's a 7-man fight. So basically, I tried this scene for a while, about an hour, and I keep getting wiped over and over again. So I'm pretty much stuck. Now, it was a blind Let's Play, so I didn't make the right character choices in the beginning. I should have probably chosen magic and went with that path. So what I'm going to do, instead of just dropping the difficulty down and continuing on, I'm just going to roll a new character. There's a lot of stuff I missed in terms of lore that I'm kind of interested in seeing. And I'm kind of interested in exploring the magic system, which seems pretty fascinating in this game. So I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll unpause it at specific times to show off some of the key highlights of my new Let's Play. And I'll pick up the Let's Play as normal when I get back to this scene. All right. Okay, I created my new character. Let's see, he's a war mage. I went with shock spells and then frost spells. There's a lot of debate on the internet. I've been reading up on, let's see, Reddit, Tyranny game, subreddit, see what people recommend. There's a lot of debate about what you should do. Some people say don't take spells, just take two weapon classes. But I'm not really a big fan of that, because I really want all these skills in terms of lore, and I just think it'll be better for me. So I'm going with that. Named Ninja Snoopy this time around. I'm going with one guy who recommended just dump everything into quickness and wits, basically, and then eventually get finesse high. Kind of minimize kind of all your fighting skills. Might, vitality, and resolve. So hopefully that works out. I'm also dumping all my skill points into the social skills, which is lore, athletics, and subterfuge. Well, not really social, but they'll give me more options anyways. Athletics, we already saw how impactful it is. We saw lore a lot of times, but we couldn't access it early in the game because we didn't have high lore. And subterfuge is super useful for opening chests. So I wanted those pretty high, and I didn't bother messing with these, because these will all increase by themselves as I use stuff. So I'm not overly worried about that. Next, I'm going to pick a bunch of conquest items. I'll pause it and unpause it when it's interesting. So I'm continuing to favor the disfavored in this playthrough, just like I did before. This is one of the few spots where it really matters, other than just which side do you align with. When you take the Bastard City, you get to choose one of these 3 abilities. Warrior's Respute, which we saw before, which heals you up. Searing Palm, which is a fire spell, and Concealing Shadows. So I'm going to go with the Searing Palm this time, since I'm playing a mage, and see if that does me better. Alright, this time, so this actually determines which edict you read, this choice here. So I'm going to choose this one, the Valium Citadel. Let's read that dialogue since we didn't read it last time. The Vellum Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by other major realms. Legend said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kairos. A detachment of Kairos' army marched on the Vellum Citadel, expecting an orderly surrender. As they neared the main gates, a blast of arcane energy struck the commanders dead. Suddenly, the highest ranking officer alive, Kairos' forces looked to you for the next step. The call weighed on your mind, as it had an immediate influence on the soldiers' losses. You ordered the expendable Scarlet Chorus to attack, commanding the disorderly mob forward to give the elite disfavored a chance to withdraw, though a costly maneuver in terms of lives lost. This assured the survival of most capable and effective soldiers. Order the disfavored to advance the sheared wall, knowing that a handful of Kairos' elite soldiers could hold off the attack until the Scarlet Chorus retreated. You knew the disfavored would despise you for any losses at the Scarlet Chorus's expense, but that was a small price to pay for saving lives. Other option is Song of Ensnarement. Siren, Archon of Song, used her power to enthrall enemy mages who crept beyond the Citadel's wall. After Kairos' forces rounded up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge, a crime under Kairos' law with the Scarlet Chorus. You calmed the disfavored with a compromise. The sages' mouths would be bound with iron bridles, preventing them from speaking their forbidden knowledge. You punished the disfavored for executing mages bound to the Scarlet Chorus, ordering that several disfavored soldiers be given to the Archon of Song as her personal bodyguards. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to do this one. We'll have the Scarlet Chorus protect the disfavored. Ever itching for a fight, the howling mob still recognized your maneuver as a sacrificial move that it was. Those from the Scarlet Chorus who ran headlong into the battle made promises of reckoning upon their return. Thankfully for you, hardly any of them limped back in one piece. For those who survived, made of fevered whisperings their grievance, naming you as a villain to the Scarlet Chorus. Lost in the mountains, the disfavored learned of an hidden enemy enclave, sent scouts to locate it. They never returned from their mission. The remaining disfavored soldiers demanded that you send the Scarlet Chorus to retrieve their scouts, but the Scarlet Chorus flatly refused to fall to the same trap. They recommended that the scouts be treated as wartime casualties. Ordered the Scarlet Chorus to send scouts to locate and rescue their lost disfavored patrol. You can assign the disfavored scouts to their fate. If the elite Kairos' army could not have returned their own, there was no sense in wasting the lives of the Scarlet Chorus to find them. The other option is plunder of parchment. The army captured a supply caravan overflowing with arcane books. When the disfavored started with the bonfire of forbidden text, the Scarlet Chorus rescued the tomes from the flames and attacked. In accordance with disfavored witches, you upheld Kairos' law regarding forbidden lore and had all the texts burned. You decreed the disfavored are welcome to burn their half of the plunder, but the Scarlet Chorus has a rightful claim to the other half, provided you first review the texts first to eliminate any that touched on forbidden knowledge. I'm going to do this one instead of favoring the disfavored, because this one is a magic-related one, so I'm going to do that one. I don't know if it really matters in the game, but just for theming. The Scarlet Chorus agreed to your generous terms, and you set to poring over every manuscript before it's handed over. The work took several evenings, and you came away with a glimpse of truth better left unknown. Taking the burden upon yourself was a less risky alternative than disseminating amongst Kairos' ranks, though it didn't help you sleep at night. Edict of Fire. So before we had the Edict of Stone, I believe it was. Now we've done the Edict of Fire. Food and morale dwindled as the siege party realized the enemy would win the war of attrition. Tunon sent word that the Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast Edict of Fire on the enemy. The parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron. Written on it, the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning that it's devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. Giving them no quarter, you proclaimed it at the first moments of dawn, granting them no warning and destruction to come. Though the chorus insisted your actions doomed their spies, the disfavored applauded your position. Claiming they had spies in the Citadel, the Scarlet Chorus urged you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace, warned them of their doom, and giving the Scarlet giving the Scarlet Course spies the enemy and a chance to run. I think we'll just do this one. Burn it all. You read the edict as the new sun rose behind the citadel, casting a long shadow in its wake. You were the last person to see the Hall of Knowledge the moment before the devastation. The earth shook and the red-orange light glowed in the foundation of the sprawling citadel. Bubbling up from under the library, a torrent of lava heaved with explosive force, gushing from the windows and between loose bricks, melting hostile trenches in the surrounding land. The mages awoke to smoke and fire. For most, it is already too late. Only a handful of bewildered mages escaped the smoldering collapse of the massive library fortress. Kairos will be done. The armies of Kairos left to devastation in the Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears became known to the once noble city as the Burning Library. It was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life. But a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You were one of the last to part from the mountains. You journeyed off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains that were mere specks dwarfed by the inferno. The last gaps of survivors, or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. Alright, the rest you've seen, I'm going to pause it again. Already encountered our first thing we can do with lore. Can you hear that hum in the air, that glow around the rocks? That avalanche is Kairos' magic. The Overlord has sealed the valley. Your senses see more than mine, good Fatebringer. I do not pretend to know much about such things. If that was Kairos' magic and you hear important business, well, you don't have the Archon of Sequence to guess that you're here to proclaim an edict. What does Kairos have in store for the enemy? 10 years of festering plague, an edict of twisted bones. Alright, you've already seen this. I'm pausing again. So one of the nice things about choosing that spell that we did, so if you go back over here, you know we have that spell, Searing Palm, that we took during the fight. Or sorry, during Conquest mode. Now if you go to spell creation, we have the two cores I took, Lightning and Frost, that I took from the character creator. But also we have a Sigil of Fire, which is nice. So we have 3 sigils already in the beginning of the game. Which is kind of neat.
My armor feels lighter.
You worthless gnats, you may die, but others will follow our example. Mark my words. The captain coughs up blood. Alright, I finally beat this battle. Hooray. You bested the leadership. Most impressive. Remind me never to underestimate your skills as Fatebinder. Let's see. Average favor, average wrath. Betray Alliance. You arrive now. I shed blood to take Ascension Hall. This place, this spire, the valley. It's mine! All of you be gone. Huh. I am honored to have a hand in this glory. Your help was pivotal. Pivotal. Graven Ash will soon be hearing an earful about your skill and courage. The clatter and madness of combat has finally ceased. Ascension Hall is for a moment tranquil. Gain favor of the disfavored, lost favor. Alright. May pox take your children. Ari slumps to a crouch, her body trembling with injury and fatigue. Gain average favor from Scarlet Chorus and the disfavored, and then lose major favor with the Vendrian Guard. With those words defeat, the burning hum you hear in your head for days on end tapers off into nothing. Your mind returns into a state of quiet you have not felt since before you proclaimed the edict on Vendrian's Well. I lay claim to Ascension Hall. Let us be free of this edict. You feel a tug in your chest, and a warm energy begins to form around you. Before you know it, you feel as you are lighter than air. Nice. Whoa, I'm floating. The Mountain Spire achievement unlocked. You blink away the last luminescent trails in your field of vision. The masonry of Ascension Hall is replaced with a wide open space in every direction, save for the slab of ancient stone beneath your feet. High winds shove you, pushing you off balance. The air is cool and thin, unsatisfying to your lungs. Is this? Lantry looks out from the horizon, wide open with excitement. Yes, this must be the Mountain Spire. When was the last time? Lantry's eyes look down from over the ledge, dumbstruck by the vertical plunge. Lantry backs away from the edge. I may need to retch. This is certainly a change. The wind ruffles the feathers of her hair, and Verse quickly smooths them down. A damn cold change. She peers over the edge. I think I could land on my feet. Think I could land on my feet if I jumped? Not that it would matter for too long. Kairos, be merciful. Now what? Barak spins on around on his feet, looking about, trying to take in as much as he can through the narrow visor of his helmet. Every way you look, mountains rise up along a distant horizon, and rivers and forests below. Bring to mind maps of Vendrian's Well, and you quickly trace the Mayanti, Neva, and all the numerous waterways of the region. Higher than you imagine, this is indeed the pinnacle of the spire of Vendrian's Well. How did we get all the way up here? Ari strains to stand up, clutching her side. Another question, how in the name of Graven Ash do we get down? The Iron Marshal walks to the edge, trembling half a pace back as she peers downward. The warriors below must be sensing that the edict has ended. We should be down there by their side. The edict is gone, and I don't think we're dead. We all could feel the edict passing. No doubt the soldiers below are sensing it too, and the Archons as well. I hereby claim this place. This is now an extension of Tunan's court, and all combatants must leave. Enough bloodshed for one day. Demand all blades be sheathed. I hereby claim this place. It is now an extension of Tunan's court. This is no longer strictly a military concern. We need to take a breath and sift through what just happened. You would claim this place for Tunan? What would be the strategic... That would actually be a strategic advantage for this favored. We can't spare the soldiers to garrison this place. Yet we'd like to deny the chorus every foothold possible. I will happily counsel Graven Ash to support this claim. Send word to Graven Ash that we're successful. That was a worthy battle. Not since Stalwart have I seen such courage and such determination. Oh, but the siege needed you spans ago. Agreed, I would be honored to deliver your auspicious message in person, but... She points down over the ledge. I think the blast of magic from the spire and the edict's end should have been clear to everyone, but Graven Ash will want to know you are safe. Go through that portal and report to Graven Ash, then return to me with any news. Hand her a note. The parchment will survive the impact. No telling how stable it is, but looking closely you see images of Ashen Hall in the haze. If you have well-trained eyes, that is. Of course, if it's not stable, the alternative of jumping is, so what do we have to lose? Oh, how did I not notice that? The portal shimmering continues to... Assuming this place takes me back to Ascension Hall, I'll carve a path to Ash and let him know the score. Glory to Kairos. Salute. Salute. Thank you for being the edge of our blade. We've been short-handed ever since we took the Gates of Judgments, and these Oathbreakers fight well above their station. Without you in my vanguard, this would have been a bloodier day, and there's no telling if we would have seized Ascension Hall in time. Nera, treachery just means war. I trust you will be able to rely on your continued support in the coming trials. No doubt I'm the very... Eb says, no doubt I'm the very definition of an enemy of the Overlord. I didn't just resist, I led others into resistance. So I know what's about to happen. But I know when I've met my match, and like most folks, I'll do whatever it takes to live. If you show me mercy, I will pledge my life to you, good Fatebinder. The Tidecaster bows on one knee, lowering her gaze. I know I'm an Oathbreaker, so my word isn't what it used to be, but I promise if you spare me, I'll serve you well. Serve me well, and all can be forgiven. It ends here. Executor. We'll have her join. If you will have my fealty, it is yours. I, Ebb the Tidecasters, do hereby pledge my life and loyalty to Ninja Snoopy. She dips in a former bow. I will serve and obey as long as you have need or want of my skills. Can't even see, really what she is. I'll swap her out with Verse for now. I might switch her back, but... Vendrian's well has fallen. For the second time since the conquest began, Kairos' armies take the citadel from its defenders. With your help, the Vendrian Guard rebellion has been crushed. You claimed Ascension Hall with your disfavored allies, satisfying the terms of Kairos' baneful edict. You and the forces of Kairos are free from the Overlord's death sentence. With the threat of execution no longer looming overhead, the Overlord's armies turn their attention away from the Citadel and towards each other. The tensions that flared over the long siege reached an explosive crescendo as the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus armies clashed iron and bronze in a hasty, disorganized battle. As his forces were cut down, the voices of Nerat and his officers escaped to the Stone Sea, leaving the conscript army to carry out their battle against the disfavored. In the aftermath, the disfavored broke camp and withdrew to their fortress in the Blade Grave, there to regroup and prepare for the extended campaign against the Scarlet Chorus. Having taken Vendrian's well for yourself, Archon Grave recognized your lawful claim to rule and occupy the spire. As days passed, the wounded and injured were nursed to health. You explored your strange bastion and planned your next steps with careful deliberation. As word spread that the Scarlet Chorus and Disfavored turned on each other, factions once resolved to bend the knee and are inspired instead to continue fighting. The Archon's feud has heralded the collapse of the Kairos offensive. Tunon, the Archon of Justice, observes the chaos and discord spreading across the land. The Archon summoned his Fatebinder to return to court at the Bastion City and report on his actions in the Vendrian Well. Civil War. What a shame that it descended to this. The Archon Ash will want to meet and discuss the next steps. Best to regroup in the Iron Hearth. Gather your strength and regroup. Don't leave the Archon waiting. Send Ash my regards. The General has done much for me, and I wish he was here to see this. Tell the Archon at Iron Earth I will speak with Tunon. That would be best. It's not enough that we're fighting 2 wars. Now we have to puzzle this through. I don't envy your position. See you at Iron Hearth. The dizzying energy from the spire falters. Whatever force awoke the powers that reside here glitters and fades with a faint hum, persists in the sculpture at the center. That's odd. The portal was here a moment ago, but it seems to have vanished. Look around for a solution. The humming from the curious sculpture pulses and builds in volume as if to draw your attention. Alright, I'm back. Is there like a party manager somewhere now? There's a Spire tab. Spire upgrades. Hire a bunch of merchant, a skill trainer, and this stuff. Subterfuge, that's pretty sweet. Athletics, a whole bunch of skills. Battlefield scavenger with many unique items. Smith who regularly produces weapons. Old beastwoman who regularly provides food to take into battle. Edicts. Edict of Stone, Edict of Storms. Okay. So to bring you up to speed on what I do with my character since creation, I put a bunch of points into finesse. Finesse basically gave me a pretty high parry ratio, which helped me in that last battle. Did that basically with everybody. She's new, so I didn't do it to her, of course. And then in terms of talent trees, what I chose to do was kind of defensive stuff. So this guy has Clash of Iron and then a boost to Clash of Iron, which lets him strike twice after doing it, and then +2 armor after doing it. And then lets him engage +2 enemies engaged. So he's really about Clash of Iron, this skill tree. And what I had the Fate Binder do was leadership, which I mark enemy, and then 2 arms, which is after you use thrust, you get a bunch of bonuses on allied and nearby allies. A morale boost constantly while you're nearby. Second wind, which is pretty sweet. After once per encounter, if you fall to low health, you heal you and your party members for a portion of their maximum of 32%. That's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice bonus. Resurgent, point to an ally, fallen ally, command them to rejoin, so you can get to revive and heal them basically for 30%. It's like a free revive spell. Killing Rush is, I don't know if this is the best one, but every time you kill someone, you get +4% health for everybody. And, oh yeah, the other tree I did, yep, that's all I did. So I just did leadership. And this guy, I spent a bunch of points in preservation. So renewal and greater renewal, which gives him, which is basically a protection shield for everybody. Gifted healer, arcane shield, which is just +3 armor for him. And then erase the record, which lets him revive. You put a protection seal on an ally, and if it falls below a health limit, then they're healed for this 35%. Actually, sorry, not 35%. They're healed for a large amount of health when they go below 35%. And then second breath, which is a revive. And then a boosted second breath, which is revive with a negative 100% damage for 6 seconds. So a lot of kind of defensive stuff just to get through that last battle. How do I switch out parties, I wonder? So there's all the different spires you get to unlock in this game. I think there's, what, 5 spires now? Spire rest bonus, +5 to all skills. Closer inspection, a series of symbols carved around the base structure come into view. One symbol pulses with a blue-white glow. The pattern resembles the glowing lines of light seen on the floor of Ascension Hall moments before you found yourself transported above the clouds. As you stare at the symbol, the chill of the wind abates and your chest swells with warmth. The air finally feels welcoming, your lungs satiated at last. Be careful about going any closer. This whole tower is humming with energies that we don't understand. Now, I didn't say stay. Now, I didn't say back away. Let's find out what it does. Just be cautious. I can feel the power running through this place. You can sense the magic of the spire even from down below. But up here, this close to the axis of the spire, the deluge of energy is numbing. I feel dizzy. Do you feel dizzy? Massages the brow of his helmet, causing a howl of iron to squeak. What is this thing? The surface of the stone orb trembles at your words. For a brief moment, the stone undulates, the same motion as a quiet pond rippled by rain. An echo comes bouncing from afar. Your voice is distorted and unfamiliar. This is this thing. Your voice sounded like a song. The sculpture is once again still. There is a rush of warmth through your body, a jolt of innervation that steadies your balance. A barrage of tactile sensation floods your mind as you feel footsteps and wind, but not on your face or your limbs. For a moment, the flood of information begins to make sense. You are feeling the winds against the spire, and even the weight of your own feet, as if the spire were a second spine. With this connection made, you feel your awareness pull from this place, not as a traveler, but as one glimpsing the world from impossibly far away. In this moment, there is nothing that you cannot see, though you see it nearly all at once in a flood of sensation that is difficult to parse. You see a spire at the crossing of an ancient stone structure, two walls extending off into the distance. At the base of this eternal spire, settlers and merchants act in every way unconcerned, toiling under the observation of unforgiving taskmasters. As the shadow of the spire falls over them, the mood changes. The settlers pause in shared uneasy and look up into the sky toward you. Some of the faces looking at you are familiar. You recognize this place as Lethren's Crossing, where you served during the war. Near the settlement built at the joining of the ancient walls, you see the breach of the massive masonry, a cleft into the hidden realm within the walls. Drift closer to the spire. The spire feels similar to the one you occupy now, though instead of reading arcane life, it reeks of dust and crumbling stone, a branch withering once pulled from its tree. It reaches for you with a barely perceptible tug. Drift into the wall's entrance. Shadows envelop you, muting all sounds and vision with slight delay. There is a feeling of perseverance, of wrongness. Whatever arcane power is allowing your senses to drift free from your body seems to falter in this place. Figures haunt the stone halls, drifting emanations of cloud, claw, and fang. They pay you no heed, but you fear them all the same. In the depths of this forbidden place, the deepest chamber is bathed in light. An arcane symbol illuminates the floor, though the details hurt your eyes when you focus. With a gentle tug, your focus pulls back to a new horizon, though it takes you a moment to recognize it is Vendrian's well. You have returned to awareness to your immediate surroundings. The effect leaves you unsteady on your feet. The link between you and the spire rescinds. The arcane bond is still present, but the mystical energies for the moment are quiet. Your body flooded with excitement and fatigue. It's unclear whether this mystic connection is strengthening you or siphoning you. The tower offers nothing by the way of an answer, and you know that asking would only yield more silence and mystery. The deluge of sensation is over, but the positions of the other spires still linger in your mind. From your vantage point atop the mountain spire, you can easily spot the mysterious structures, each of them rising above their distant surroundings. Did you sense that? Landry signs this long sigil in the air, squinting at you with his as he works his cantrip. The ripples are everywhere. When you move, the magic of this place stirs and churns. That portal over there, those burning braziers, they all grow more intense as you approach. I think it's responsible to responding to your presence. Hate to interrupt the wool gathering, but you just resolve Kairos' edicts, which is at least as remarkable as ascending a spire. Am I the only one who thinks they might be related? Barrick plants his feet and crosses his arms. As a lawful holder of the spire, it is your duty to find out as much as possible. That includes understanding edicts as well. If you forget your responsibilities, I'll only be happy to remind you. Be sure to see me after your audience with Tunon. We cannot let the Scarlet Chorus gain hold in the tears. Together we'll wipe them out from the land. Come to me as soon as you can, Fatebinder. We have a lot of work to do. All right.
Let's be off. Graven Ash.
Sculpture doesn't respond to your touch. Ascension Hall. Citadel. Instant travel.
No can do. Slow and steady.
That's what we saw before. I think we can pick up now some camping supplies that were left out. So we might as well grab those while we're here. Nope. It's on the other side.
Won't happen. No can do. Won't happen. No can do. Won't happen.
Let's see what our quest objective is. I think it's just to meet with those guys. Tunon is the voice of the Kairos and the Tears. He'll want to know the specifics of what transpired in Vengeance Well. Travel to Tunon's court in the Bastard City. Whatever you did in Ascension Hall and Vengeance Well has given you the power to interact with the Spire. Before you ascended the Spire, you had a vision when the edict broke. Understanding this vision might help you to better grasp the new power you've acquired. Investigate the Spires. You had a vision. The Spire scattered across the tiers and feel more connection with them, and the Spire claimed to gather more information and seek them out whenever possible. Find a way to Lethren's crossing Spire. You have gained access to Haven. The region's spire is attached to the old walls. So to travel there, find access. Alright. Well, that's a good stuff and more for the episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.